Oh, you're looking fantastic, because here we are at the garage here in London for the Garage Dayz Re-Visited. And I've got the pleasure and the company of Veronica Freeman.
That would be me.
Lead singer of Benedictum.
Yes.
And in July, we've got a new album out, and it's actually a solo album, Now or Never.
Yeah.
And I think the golden question is, why are you going solo?
Well, I was asked to actually, which it was they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. The president and vice president of Frontiers Records were in Los Angeles a few years ago. And I went there to see them because, you know, you'll have a relationship with someone over email and it's different. You want to, I'm a people person, I want to meet someone in person. And the idea was brought up about having me do a solo project. And at first I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. And then we kind of worked out the details, so to make a long story short, here we are. So it wanted something that was definitely different from Benedictum, but still kind of rocked. And so I think the devil was in the details, as they say, to trying to find out exactly what I was going to do. I've been doing the Benedictum thing, and that's like my thing. It's so natural. It was very difficult for me to step out of myself. So
Well, it's like,
it's cool.
it's a slight move away from Benedictum, but it still rocks.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear from
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Because that's what I was so afraid of the whole time. And that's partially why it took so long to get completed. Because there was a first round of it, and the songs were still gaining their shape, so to speak. And I really credit John Herrera, the producer, for helping me to step out of my comfort zone, because that was the most difficult part. I was crying a lot. And then things changed even more when Michael Sweet stepped in and all that stuff. But it took a long time. It was almost 2 years in the making. So.
And just to clear things up and to clarify things, does this mark the end of Benedictum?
Oh no.
Good.
I would think no. But you know what? I can't do Benedictum alone. I'm just going to be frank about it. I can't. So if I was one of those, you know, those one-man band suits, you know, with the bass drum and all that kind of stuff, maybe, but I can't do that. So I've always been very well aware that it's a team effort, but it needs to be just that, like a team effort.
Yeah.
So depending upon how things go in the future.
And of course, members of Benedictum play on this album as well.
Every member of it.
Of course, yeah, every member.
At one point or another, Rickard Sternquist, I mean, when we were first setting things up, Rickard, Pete, Eric, everybody. So that, I felt really good about that.
Fantastic. And you just mentioned Michael Sweet, obviously Striper. And how did your involvement with him come about?
I'm sorry?
How did your involvement with Michael Sweet come about?
Oh my God. That was one of those serendipitous sort of things where it was just out of the blue, so to speak. And I don't get on Twitter much. I'm not really good at it yet. I don't know why. Maybe I'm old school, whatever. But there was a tweet from somebody, and his name is Kenny Lewis, and his wife was going through some stuff, and I just responded to that, like a direct tweet, like, wow, I hope she's okay. And then it's like, well, I hear you're doing some stuff, and if you ever need anything, and I'm like, boy, if you only knew, I need some help with this, that, and the other thing. And he's all, well, you know, I know Michael Sweet, and I think he's on the same label as you are. I can like play him some of your stuff. And I'm like, no way. I almost thought I was like, yeah, right. But at the end of the day, it morphed into, everything just fell into place. And it just turned out that right after that conversation, if you will, that Striper was playing in Phoenix, where I live, and then I had a chance to meet Michael, and he's like, yeah, I'll do a couple songs for you, but I'm not going to have the time to give you anything ahead of time. You're just going to have to show up and trust me, and that's what happened. So it's great.
Fantastic. And there's a whole plethora of guests on this album. Another one, Tony Martin, the former Black Sabbath singer. And obviously he lives in England, so what's your association with Tony?
Well, I had a chance because he was on the last Benedictum album on a song called Cry. And at that time, I wanted this song to be on the Benedictum album. But, you know, Tony, being who Tony is, wanted to... I sent him about 4 different songs, and he really gravitated to Cry, but he also just happened to mention in one of his emails to me, hey, I've got this song, what do you think about it? And I fell in love with King for a Day right off the bat. It was his idea, you know, it could be like a duet. And so I got the vocal tracks and, you know, the modern technology, so I had to redo, well, not me, but had to re-record the music and everything. It worked out really well. I love this.
Brilliant.
Favorite song.
And also Leva Leone from Chastain. Tell us more. She's not so popular here in the UK, so tell us more about her.
Come on. If she were here right now,
She'd be slapping me.
she'd be what?
She'd be telling me off, I'm sure.
She would not be telling you off, she'd be having a drink with you. She'd be telling me to like lower the button on the shirt and let them hang out. She'd be she'd be pointing out all the hottest guys in the place. She is a pistol, as I say. She's brought so much. I don't get all emotional, but I'm an emotional person. Fuck it, that's how I am. She's brought so much goodness into my life just because of the type of person she is. She loves metal so much. She used to be she still is the singer of Chastain. She's still a powerhouse in her own right, and my metal sister. So you go, Leather.
Great to hear. And obviously, with any new album product, will it be like a tour from you to promote this album?
I'm working on that pretty much as we speak, and my dream is to do something that encompasses Benedictum, the solo stuff, some cover stuff, to make it like a whole fun show.
Yeah.
That's on my mind. I'm always ruminating about things. And so for once, I'd like something to come out the way I had envisioned it. And that's kind of what I have.
You just mentioned cover versions, and I noticed recently in America, the Dio Day. I know you're a massive fan of Ronnie James Dio. You performed with the Rods, great American band from long ago.
Definite shout out. Yeah, definite shout out to Carl, Dave, and to Gary. It was one of those other things that just kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
Dio Day probably, I know it wasn't under the auspices of other people and all that stuff, which is fine. I was just very honored to be able to play in front of a crowd that, he was their native son, as you say. And the love that you felt from that crowd, I don't care. I could have played in front of 10,000 people, it wouldn't match that. So.
And your introduction to Dio, band members, was Craig Goldie, I believe. So how did that friendship come about?
Oh my God, I've known him for back in the prehistoric days when dinosaurs ruled the earth. I've known him for a very long time. I haven't spoken to him for quite a while. But he was the one who, bar none, was responsible for getting me into this type of music. Because I was like, oh no, and he was like, no, you need to check this out. And he had posters of like Richie Blackmore and all that stuff on his wall. And at the time, he was like, I'm going to get a guitar like that. That's how way back we go.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you need to try singing this stuff. I never planned on being a vocalist at all.
Yeah.
So one thing kind of led to another, and I would do like a little cameo thing with his band that he had put together at the time. And I believe the song I know the song that I sung was Mistreating. That was the first song I ever sang, ever.
Oh wow.
Yeah. In front of people.
Have you ever done a version of Mistreated? Is there a version out there?
I'm thinking that there's one in the archives somewhere, but no, not on a real professional level.
Because I know your voice, and I know you can nail it, definitely.
I would love to do that.
And you just mentioned that you got your singing. So was heavy metal the first kind of music you sang, or was you singing other kinds of music before?
I would say it's the first kind of music I sang because I didn't ever plan on being a singer. Both of my parents were artistic and creative, but they were more like paint artists and stuff. And I had a little bit of that. I like to do some drawings and stuff like that now and then. But I thought that maybe more of I was going to be a dance. Anyway, so it didn't work out. No, I don't have a phone. Anyway, so I guess we'll do. But I wanted to do something in the creative arts. And then, so when that kind of came about, then I went from that to like a top 40 type of band for a while, and then I just stopped doing it altogether. It just didn't fit into my life. And then I was like, I really enjoy doing it.
So what is it that you love so much about heavy metal that makes you want to do it?
The power of it, there's no question. There is a certain energy to heavy metal that I don't feel other than maybe certain movements of classical metal, really classical music, really have. It is a certain power and energy that it conveys. That's why a lot of bodybuilders and people that work out, you play heavy metal because it just gets you in that zone. I think that's why a lot of disenfranchised people gravitate towards it because it is something that supplements the power that you lack. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? And so even whether you want to admit it or not, that's why it is a way to express some either aggression or that voice voice and that vibe that you want to have. It's power and it's movement, and there's nothing like it to me anyway.
Good. What music was you listening to when you were younger? What was the first heavy metal album you bought?
I wasn't listening to everything. What I was listening to was everything from big band, and that's something I feel very strongly about. That if you are going to write music, that you might want to have a very eclectic taste in it, because you can draw from other people's approach. You don't have to do country, you don't have to do folk music, but if you listen to another, because it's a feeling thing, it's from the soul, for me anyway, that when you see how other people approach it, it's like, well, why not approach my metal or my music in the same manner and see what it brings to the table? So I think it's very important to have a wide variety.
It's true what you say, actually. Like Black Sabbath, you know, there's a lot of bands out there who want to sound like Black Sabbath, but
Right.
Black Sabbath got their sound from listening to the blues.
Thank you. Exactly. A lot of people don't really get that, and I see a lot of times when well, it's all about metal and it's only metal, and I appreciate the fervor, but if you really look at the metal bands that you idolize or venerate, you'll find that their roots came from very, very different and very sources, and that's what makes it. I use explicatives, I'm sorry.
I really like that in a lady. And we're here today in London, and it's great to see you come over. And today you got new wave of British heavy metal bands like Tygers Of Pan Tang, and there's Tokyo Blade, Witchfynde on stage at the moment. Were they bands you were aware of when you were younger yourself?
Did I win?
Were they bands that you were aware of when you were younger?
Absolutely. Well, not that I had the vinyl. That's why I brought some stuff in the sign. You don't think I'm happy about that? Don't be telling anybody, okay? But anyway, oh yes, I have the CD. V is for vinyl. You know what I'm saying? But no, you didn't play that for me.
Well, Veronica's been fantastic talking to you. The album Now or Never is out on Frontiers Records. And it's out in July, worldwide.
July 10th in the US.
That's right.
Not that it's not part of the world, I'm just saying. Why do they separate them? But that's cool.
And we really look forward to seeing you back on stage.
I hope so.
Veronica's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
All the best for the future, and show us the fee sign for picture.
No fees for Veronica. You better get that right. What's wrong with these people? Driving on the wrong side of the road.
Take care, all the best. Thank you.